Hey there and welcome. Are you a woman who is unapologetically ambitious, but you're also deeply focused on honoring God, loving your family well, and pursuing meaningful work? Well, you've come to the right place. My name is Dana Byers, and you and I are going to be fast friends. Let's get started. Before we get started today, I want to take just a moment to share with you the words that Sarah, one of my clients in the 10-hour confidence transformation course, texted me. She said, "I used to be a tired, exhausted, stressed, and overworked mom who was nearly failing at it all." She told me that she was loving my podcast and emails. She joined the program, and right now it is changing her life. She said, "I hope to not go back to where I was 6 months ago. Thank you so much." Sarah, I am proud of you. Thank you for stepping up for yourself. It is such a joy to have you as part of the Dana Byers community. If you're listening to this and you would also like to be part of my course and community, go to danabyercoaching.com/getcoached for details. Well, hey there. Welcome back to the Been There, Learned That podcast. I'm Dana. I am an empathetic accountability coach. I work with Christian working women, and I am so glad that you are joining me today. Here's why. We all know that life can be stressful, but what if some of the stress that you're experiencing right now is unnecessary? What if it's stress that you actually have control over? Well, in today's episode, I want to explore some sneaky stressors that you might be allowing into your life without even realizing it. We're going to talk about some common behaviors that can add to your stress load and how to start letting go of what's weighing you down. So, take a deep breath with me and let's dive into how you can create some relief in your life daily starting today. So today we're going to discuss uncovering unnecessary stressors, specifically how to release what's draining you and to find some relief. We're going to work to identify and coach you through uncovering some unnecessary stressors in your life right now. So if you're a regular listener to my podcast, you know that my approach to recording this podcast is to stop and to pray before I begin. I ask God to use this episode to help at least one woman who is listening to experience a breakthrough. Well, today I specifically prayed that those of you listening to this episode would feel empowered to lighten your load. So I hope that's you. Listen up, stay with me for these next few minutes. I'm excited that we're going to get to talk about this very important topic. And I want to ask you, what is your unnecessary stressor? This was the topic of an email I sent the people on my email list maybe about 5 or 6 weeks ago. I could tell that it hit a nerve to the point that it got some women thinking based upon what they were saying back to me or replying back to me in the emails. So I thought it would be a really good idea to expand on this idea a little bit in today's episode. By the way, if you aren't on my email list and you would like to hear from me in your inbox a couple of days a week, go to danabyercoaching.com/free. Look at all the free downloads I have available. Choose one or choose all of them, whatever would help you. Choose the one that would serve you. And when you download it, you're going to be added to my weekly email list. Okay, so moving forward with unnecessary stressors. So if you're listening to this podcast episode in real time, you know that we are starting to dip our toes into the holiday season for this year. And that's very exciting for most of us. The holidays can bring all sorts of, thoughts and emotions up for us. But the holidays are a classic time for women like you and me to experience additional and potentially unnecessary stress. Well, driving home from a doctor's appointment recently, I heard the radio DJ say that 41% of Americans are chronically stressed right now. 41% of us is a lot of us. That means that hundreds of you who are listening right now are probably falling into that category. So that statistic got me thinking, well, how much of our chronic stress could actually be inflamed by unnecessary stressors that we're allowing into our lives? So hear me out on this. Some stressors, of course, are unavoidable. A medical diagnosis, a disappointing change in plans, a leader's decision maybe at work that you disagree with. You might have a sudden hailstorm while you're at one of your kids' sporting events, or you might even experience an unexpected financial or even physical loss. So some of those stressors, of course, are unavoidable. But some of the stressors, just speaking from my own personal life, some of the stressors that I have faced over the years were actually behaviors that I contributed to. They were more under my control than I recognized at the time. So I believe that when I allowed the unnecessary stressors and behaviors to remain in my life, they actually intensified or inflamed my already stressful experience of life. So I decided to go back in my calendar when I learned this statistic, to go back in my calendar for a few weeks to review some of my previous coaching sessions and some of the topics of discussion, things we talked about. And I was looking for hints of unnecessary stressors that women were expressing frustration about allowing into their lives. So I'm going to give you a list of some of the potential unnecessary stressors that I discovered as I went back through my notes. Here are some of the things women said to me. One woman said she was eating foods that she knew would make her feel bad. Another said she was staying up late to binge watch television and she was too tired to be fully present for an early morning meeting at her kid's school. Another said that she had said yes to a weekend event that actually caused her to miss out on resting at home, which is what she truly felt she needed, was to rest at home. Another woman told me that she kept letting her family interrupt her work or focus time at home. I also heard about a woman burying her hurt feelings into a bag of chips, eating those chips instead of really letting herself cry and talk with a trusted friend about it. A woman also told me that she broke a promise to herself that she had made to save money one month. I heard a woman say that she engaged in a political disagreement via social media. And in this specific case, I remember her saying to me, you know what, that's on me. She said, I knew better than to bring that drama into my already stressful day, but I still did it. Classic example of an unnecessary stressor. I really respected her willingness to admit that. Another example was a woman saying she didn't need help when someone offered it to her, but she was actually feeling really buried in her work. And the last example I noticed that might be an unnecessary stressor that a woman was facing was she decided to start a pretty complex meal prep routine that actually created more chaos in her week than it did relief. Well, I don't know about you. I'm curious, can you see yourself in any of those examples that I just shared on this list? I completely can see myself in a lot of those examples, for sure, no doubt. And I love to remind you, we're not here to judge these examples or any of our own examples in our lives, right? We are here, however, to assess our own personal behaviors, to look for potential areas of relief. We don't get relief if we judge our behavior. We do, however, get relief if we're willing to look it in the face and be open to making adjustments and changes so that there are fewer unnecessary stressors in our life, so that we can support ourselves and not multiply our experience of stress, whether it's during the holidays like we're headed into, or whether it's just during our everyday life. But here's something that's a little bit sneaky that I have to mention that might have already come to mind for you, and that is this. What is stressful to one person could be helpful or even fun to another, right? Have you ever noticed that? So you see, if you've been in the Dana Byers coaching community for a while now, you have already heard me talk about anabolic and catabolic energy. So something that is catabolic is draining. Literally, if something is catabolic, it creates a bit of resistance or a sense of like contracting into something. So it means like the root word means down or against. It's pulling away from you. It's catabolic. If something is anabolic in your life, anabolic energy, it means it's constructive, expanding, it fuels you. It has this idea of building or moving upward. So anything that's catabolic for you is draining. And if it's anabolic for you, it might be healing or at least replenishing or fuels you. And I am a certified master practitioner in the Energy Leadership Index assessment, which was created by the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. So every woman in my coaching program, which right now is the 10-hour confidence transformation course, every woman gets to take the assessment she gets a complete debrief and a personalized report with her results. So I love talking about catabolic and anabolic energy because there's no right or wrong to that. It's just helping you have an awareness about some of the things in your life are catabolic to you. Some are anabolic. It's not of concern if something that's catabolic to you is anabolic to another person or vice versa. Just want you to have awareness to this as you think about your unnecessary stressors. I wouldn't want you walking away from this episode thinking, oh, the list of examples or experiences that Dana shared, those should be draining to me. That might not be the case, okay? So let's just think broadly and have some awareness here, because some of those examples that I listed above might actually be energizing to you in a good way. Maybe you've put together a meal prep program that is very energizing, very anabolic, and helpful to you. That is fantastic. So the point here is to give you some examples that women sometimes realize they've unintentionally allowed something that's an unnecessary stressor into their lives. So keeping with this example of the upcoming holidays, think of it this way. One of my clients might find it very anabolic. She might love making homemade cookies with her nieces and nephews, while another client of mine might find that exact same experience to be draining or catabolic. Okay, so keeping that in mind, let's coach on this. Let's coach on uncovering your unnecessary stressors and how to release what's draining you to find relief. All right, first of all, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath and release it. And you know what? I'm going to ask you to do that again. Take a deep breath and release it again. Okay, friend, so think about this question. What are the catabolic or draining things that you are facing today, right now? And I want you to name one of these catabolic stressors of which you might be the source. Which of these catabolic draining things did you initiate? Are you the source of? Maybe you added it to your life. And I want to ask you, is it necessary? Is this thing that you've added, is it necessary? And how possible is it for you to drop that habit or decision or behavior? How possible is that on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being completely impossible and 10 being, you know what, Dana, since you asked me that question, I've already dropped it. It's that possible. How possible is it for you to drop that habit or decision or behavior that you have added unnecessarily to your life? The behavior that is draining you, the decision or activity that is unnecessary. And then I want you to ask yourself this: what would removing this catabolic, unnecessary stressor, what would that do for you in this season? How would it feel for you to be free from needing to focus on that unnecessary stressor right now in your life? All right, friends. Well, as you think through those questions, it's going to start spinning the wheels in your brain. I wouldn't be surprised if you've uncovered a couple thoughts that you want to work through. If you're part of my group coaching program, which is the 10-hour confidence transformation course, bring those thoughts, bring that to our monthly group coaching call or drop me an email. I would love to support you in that. We could have some one-on-one sessions, whatever that looks like. But I want to at least get those wheels turning for you today. How would it feel to remove a catabolic, unnecessary stressor from your life in this season? And what would it take for you to be able to do that? Well, thank you so much for spending time with me on today's episode. Listen, as we wrap up, I want to encourage you to take a moment and reflect on some of those catabolic stressors you're experiencing in your life right now, the ones that are draining you and that might be completely unnecessary. And ask yourself, what can I release today? Now, let's be realistic, right? Every day, we can't release every stressor. But if you're able to go through an exercise like this each morning, as you look at your schedule, it could really give you some insight on how to lighten your load. And remember, we're not here to judge ourselves. We're just trying to create awareness to make our experience in life less stressful so that we can be engaged and focused on the people and the tasks that matter most to us. So I am praying that you feel empowered to let go of at least one thing that no longer serves you, something that's unnecessary, to make space for more peace and joy in this season. And until next time, keep showing up for yourself. Show up with grace, show up with intentionality, because you are worth it. Are you a Christian working woman who is looking to boost your confidence and transform your life? Well, I have got just the thing for you. My online course, the 10-hour Confidence Transformation, is available now. This course is designed to fit into your busy schedule and provide you with actionable strategies to increase your confidence. Plus, with your purchase, you will get access to a private monthly group coaching call where we can connect and grow together. Get all of the details right now at danabuyerscoaching.com.